Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today we're doing the Try a Chapter Challenge, and I want to make it Mafia romance style. So, I have seen people do this in order to decide if they're going to continue on with the book, pick up a new author, or even unhaul books. But I need to use it to help me build my Mafia Romance Readathon, TBR. This is another readathon that's been organized by Jen from the Book Refuge. It's from May 5th to the 8th. There's going to be a ton of giveaways from some of my favorite authors. So I will be doing a whole video of like recommendations to give you and sharing my TBR. But before I do so, I kind of need to build it. So I thought that this would be a fun way to sort of weed out all of the books that I found on KU and see what we find. So I do have 3 books already on my TBR. I have Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling by, let's make sure I get her name right, Mila Finelli. I have seen this book everywhere, and Jen has me really eager to read Mafia Darling, which is the second in the duet. I'm also very excited to read Sorted by Nikki Sloan. This is a dark mafia romance, captor-captive situation. There's some non-con elements, kidnapping, murder, the whole shebang, and I cannot wait to finally get to it. So I want to run through the books that I have and finally get to weeding them out. So first I have Lifeline by Michelle Hurd. This is supposed to be like a dark mafia suspense romance. We're dealing with like an undercover FBI situation and an age gap. So I really hope that it grips me because that sounds really good. The next one I have is Sweating Lies by Emma Jaye. I was interested in this because it's MM and Mafia, and I have a few of those on this list as well. And this is like another undercover situation where one of our heroes is a cop. He's trying to bust like a human trafficking ring, yet he's caught and ends up becoming like the pleasure slave of our mafioso hero. So fingers crossed that this one goes through. The next one I have is Retribution by Courtney Dixon. This is MM, and it's also supposed to be like Irish mafia. I just heard that it's dark and emotional, so we'll see. The next book I have is Owned by Luna Voss. I just saw that this was like dark and it was like mafia sci-fi. Come on, I had to throw that on there, so we'll see if I like it. And then I also have Dark Heart by Sue Brown. This is an MM bodyguard romance. I mean, the next I have is His Daddy, the Ruthless Don by Tara Tingle. Are you catching a theme here? I always get excited about MM and poly relationships in mafia romances because typically in mafia romances they're very traditional, not at all inclusive, and I want to see how they're going to make that work. I always love the messaging or reading our main character that has like familial ties to criminal organizations, like fight for the right to love who they want to love and be with who they want to be with. So I'm intrigued by this one because of the BDSM elements. So I'm like rooting for that. The last book I have, oh no, there's 2 more. I have Loyalty That Binds by A.J Wyatt. I believe this is like our hero is supposed to marry somebody to like assume his rightful place as a Don, yet he meets a nursing student who has no idea about the life, and it's their romance. So that sounds interesting. I think this is my first A.J Wyatt too, so we'll see. The last book that I have is Mafia's Dirty Secrets by Summer Cooper. I put this on here because I'm currently in her Twisted Intentions trilogy, and I thought, let's see if she can write some Mafia. So let's get into this. I'm gonna rely on a spinner wheel to help me pick it out, like the order in which I'm gonna read this. Let me record so you can see. Okay. What are we reading first? Loyalty That Binds by A.J Wyatt. I'll be back when I have some thoughts. Okay, so I've already figured out I have to include the prologue with this first chapter. So with Loyalty That Binds, I felt like the prologue was a lot more gripping than the first chapter was, because we get a sort of like snapshot of both of their POVs within their very different lives, where she is living in the sort of monotony of what she believes she should be striving for, what she should want, the marriage and the children. And it feels almost poetic a little bit and aimless. And we get a glimpse of his life and how he is in the height of a very violent situation, handling mafia business and snitches, yet he feels nothing. And so you get these very different lives, but yet at the end of it, they're screaming the same need, quite literally. It's almost like a prayer to be saved. And so I really enjoyed that. Now, the first chapter goes into, the day-to-day of our heroine's life that will be disrupted when she meets our hero. And we learn that she's in nursing school. She's got a great friend group. She's also in a long-distance relationship that is unfulfilling. And so it didn't scream pick me up. I don't know what's so mundane about shopping at Bergdorf's or the Met Gala, but hey, it's about the soul sickness and not what it appears as. So, I picked up his daddy, the Ruthless Dom, because I wanted to see if that would be more gripping. Not that this is a head-to-head challenge, but we're trying to read stuff out here. And in that one, I appreciated how in the prologue, we get to see him be ruthless, reluctantly ruthless. We see the origin story of Antonio taking up the mantle because of his father being on his deathbed. And we also get to see that very iconic, if you take out your enemy, you better take out their entire lineage situation play out, and how this isn't easy for him. He's a bit emotional. We see his ability to be ruthless, but his kindness. And then in the first chapter, we meet Shelton, our other hero, and he too is dealing with a sick parent that he's desperately trying to take care of. And on his way to sort of acquire the funds to do so, he overhears someone being assaulted or attacked and just can't walk away. And unfortunately for him, it's Antonio's made men doing so, and they teach him a lesson, and I was cut off. And I want to know more about that story. I like how they're aligned in that kind of way, and it just was a little bit more action-packed, a little bit darker, a little bit more grittier, and I want to pick it up. So, I am going to be adding his daddy, the Ruthless Don, thank God, to my TBR for the Mafia Romance Readathon. And it's not like I don't see myself picking up Loyalty That Binds, it's just not gripping me for this one, and we have a few days. So, I'm going to put it in, not in my cube, but I'm going to keep it in one of my KU spots because it looks like it would be interesting, but I'm going to go with his daddy and the BDSM elements. And I just can't wait to see how they come together. So let me spin for the next book and I'll screenshot it so you can see what I'm doing, or record, you know what I mean. Let's do this. Okay, so the next book, let's see. Mafia's Dirty Secrets by Summer Cooper. Here I come, I'll be back. I'm not even gonna play games with you. I do not want to stop reading this book. The way that the first chapter reads does a really good job of showing rather than telling. Marie is taking care of her terminally ill mother, and throughout the sort of tasks of doing so, we learn how mean, surly, and abusive she is to her. I mean, Marie's only saving grace is that she's so ill with Parkinson's that she can barely speak, so she doesn't have to hear her tear her down. But just that process of like cleaning her bed sores, making sure that she's being taken care of while she's getting these like quick reveries, they aren't flashbacks, thankfully, about how she grew up and how she is stuck in the situation and how she feels trapped to take care of this monster. Oh my gosh. You know what? This is making me, because I just put this on the list because I was like, oh, okay, Summer Cooper, I like this little trilogy you got going on. What can you do with Mafia? Now I want to know, does the hero save her from this? Okay, I'm pulling up the about page. She, just as she thought her miserable life was never gonna get any better, cause it ain't. She met a mysterious out-of-towner. She ignored her mother's advice to never speak with any man. Then all men are bad. This beautiful stranger showers her with gifts, kindness, and attention. He gave her the sort of love that she never experienced. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the list. I don't know what prompt it's gonna fill, probably tattooed hero, but that's going on the TBR and we need to pick another one. I just didn't wanna stop, like just the way, oh my gosh, what she is enduring, okay? And the way it is told, I needed like another couple chapters. I was like, wait a minute, that's it? That's what I love to see. Okay, so I'm gonna do the spinner, and see what we're reading next. Okay. We already did Mafia's Dirty Secrets. Next. Loyalty That Binds Us. We did that already. What? Sweating Lies. This one I'm excited about. I think this is like the human trafficking one. Oh, okay. I'll be back. Just be me, but I had to read this first chapter twice because I was a little bit confused on how the author chose to present information. I'm not somebody that has to have like a dual POV, but I think that this first chapter could have benefited from that because we're dealing with multiple characters that are going by different aliases and who happen to be undercover. So this opens with Jaye. He's posing as an enforcer to this criminal organization that's responsible for this trafficking ring. And I was able to clock that the romance is between him and the mafioso's pleasure slave. He wants to save him. And this is on what Jaye believes to be his last day undercover. And I had a hard time tracking who we were following and when we were following them because she does note like how Jaye would handle a situation and how his alias would handle a situation. It just so happens that those behaviors and actions would be aligned, so it can be a little bit confusing. In addition, there is sort of like a twist already in the first chapter where the pleasure slave who's going by James is actually a former cop himself that got busted, which is what landed him in the position that he's in now. Yet he doesn't want to be saved because he wants to stay and crack this thing open on his own. And I only got that by like slowly going through this a second time so I could really track what was going on. And some of the choices in terms of like, again, how things were presented was just a little confusing to me. The writing was a little tedious. However, like I'm excited about where this story could go and what it could be. I did see really good reviews on Amazon, so I do see myself picking it up. But for the purposes of this try a chapter challenge, I'm not gonna put it on my TBR because I really had to like work with it. Again, could just be me, but I'm gonna leave it off this TBR for now. The next two books I know I want to read because I'm like, I got an itch for it. I want to read Lifeline by Michelle Hurd. And then I also want to read In Retribution by Courtney Dixon. I'm running out of cold brew, which is a problem for me. So I'm going to go to the lounge space at my like apartment complex to go replenish that source and wrap this up over there. I also kind of need to go to the gym. So I'm going to take you with me. I will be back when I have more thoughts on another chapter. This is what I am talking about, okay? Both of these are going on my TBR, and I'm gonna tell you why. Lifeline, first of all, the cover is gorgeous. I just have to like note that. I might just cover by this. Anyway, the first chapter is action-packed. We get a meet cute that has like visceral chemistry. I will get to that in a second. And we're off to the races with the dynamic and the setup already. Oh my gosh. JJ is a psychoanalyst, and we are thrust in the heat of the action on her first day as an FBI agent. She is on an extraction job. They're going to go get their man that's been undercover. And so we're getting like guns blazing. She almost shoots the freaking hero before he dodges, tackles her onto the floor to save her from getting shot. And I mean, he's only on top of her to protect, but his presence, the lore of his reputation, and just the man that he is felt, okay? He's pissed off because she almost got herself killed. She's, you know, green and almost shot him, and she's in awe. And I really like how her beauty is already vexing to him, yet he clocks how she should be on the team. Her profiling experience could be a great addition, yet he doesn't believe that she belongs there because of her appearance being so innocent and dainty and vexing for him. Yet she is nipping at his heels, wide-eyed, ready for a mentor, and he just already wants to push her away. Like, I'm here for this book, and I'm trying to figure out what the mafia element is, because I keep seeing organized crime. I was told this is mafia. So, I mean, O'Brien is an expert, and he's their go-to when it comes to needing somebody to be undercover. And so I'm wondering, after reading the blurb, if his like sorry and sappy, you know, dialogue about how she was his partner, she was his lifeline, and he turned into the monster that he was sent to freaking kill means that he's mafia. Like, if he's gonna be the mafia element, I don't know, but I wanna find out. I'm definitely reading it. And then in Retribution, the prologue of that book showcases the danger of being gay in the mafia and the consequences of being caught. It's heartbreaking and descriptive. And Brady is a part of the Irish mafia. He fell in love with a man who's a part of the Italian mafia, and we meet them on a beautiful milestone moment in the relationship and the ending of it, in a very callous, violent, and cruel way. And the writing, it's like the maelstrom of loss and longing. I'm gonna read a quote because that's just what I do. Let me find it. And I'm gonna read this because we go from this like heartbreaking, hard-hitting prologue into a completely different vibe when we meet our other hero, Charles. So this is Brady. Someone pushed me over the edge to the point of no return, scarring me forever like the long laceration on my face. And I wasn't sure I would ever recover or even wanted to. Though it was beyond painful, I didn't want to let go. I hung on for dear life because it was all I had left of him. That was the embodiment of my grief. So we leave Brady at that point, catapult 19 months later, where we meet Charlie. He finally has a day off and he's using it to get laid, okay? He is going to the club where he knows that he could just order a man off the freaking menu of the dance floor, and he's accurate. I love how confident he is. It's very hilarious. And you know, he catches a fish. However, he locks eyes with Brady on the dance floor, and those plans go out the window. I love how he already has like a nickname for him. It's like Sexy Red God. And you know, they get into it at the club, but Brady is spooked and walks away, which leaves Charles with this man that can't take a no for an answer, places Brady in a position to be a freaking hero, and he swoops in, handles it, and they have their one night stand, or at least the beginning of it, because I can't read chapter 2. It's going on my TBR, but I liked the levity of like Charles's POV and like how fun and like the pacing of it, and then how I mean, it's lust, okay? It's lust, it's dripping, it's glossy between them, and I just want to know more. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. So I'm adding that to my TBR as well. I have 2 more, and I'll be back when I read those and give you my thoughts. But okay, so before we get into the last 2 chapters, I have Bookmail that I didn't order, so I've opened the top. I want to see who it's from, and I want to see what it is. So we got Bookmail today. Hopefully I'm not flashing my address. I just want to see who it is from. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna use her YouTube name and keep her government one to myself. This is from Anne Boleyn. I told you didn't have to do this. I pushed myself on her because I noticed that she was like commenting on a lot of my videos. One in particular was a reading vlog that helped me realize that we live in the same town, and I told her we're both bookish, we're both friends now. And so the fact that you would just like even watch my channel is appreciated. Thank you. Let me see, I'm gonna read her message. Enjoy your gift. Of course I'm gonna support your channel any way I can. And it's the right thing to do when one gets so much enjoyment from your videos. Have a great day. Thank you for making it such. I can't wait to see what it is. 'Cause I'm like, I know what's on my wish list. It's Hothead by David Swade. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me calm down. You just don't know how many times I have listened to this audiobook. I originally got this rec from Jen from the Book Refuge. This is an MM, Friends to Lovers, where Griff is pining for Dante, and it feels like freaking anguish. And he's not even completely out yet, you know, because at the New York Fire Department, they're not really accepting. And it's also tricky and sticky because Griff is almost like a surrogate family member. And I like how it's written because you aren't sure if everything's being amplified by Griff's feelings or if they're being reciprocated by Dante and if he's flirting. Oh, this is so good. I mean, I'm obsessed with it. Things escalate, and I'll just say that, but thank you! I love this book. I love this book. I love this book. Thank you. Okay. Let me just calm down. I love Bookmail. This is like really appreciated. I need to chill. Okay. I have read, oh shit, what have I read? I can't even like think right now. Oh, okay, I read Owned, and that chapter was real quick, okay? It was short and sweet, but it did usher me into a very cool world. The heroine is not human. She's living on a different planet. She is a waitress that got a catering gig for a mafia family. And there wasn't enough for me to really go on. However, I'm not gonna put it on my TBR just because this is the try a chapter challenge, and based on what I got, it wasn't enough for me to like really be able to assess if I think I'm gonna like it. However, I will say that the world building and the glimpse that I did get was seamless, and it seemed like it was really cool. So I'm probably gonna actually read this, but just not for, you know, the 4 days that we have for the Mafia Romance Readathon. The next one that I read was Dark Heart. I hope I'm right. I'm gonna throw up the cover. And this is MM Bodyguard Romance. We start off with Leon, who has a reputation for getting the job done, so much so that they're like banging on his door with his sister at gunpoint just so he'll come to a meeting for a gig. I mean, it's too much. And so I did like it. It felt like Mafia. While I didn't get to meet our other hero, I heard about him through dialogue. You know, he's a bit of a playboy and a menace, and someone's trying to kill him, so they need Leon to take the job. I also know from the first chapter that I'm going to be getting a forced proximity type situation, so I'm putting this on the TBR. I just feel like a little like BDSM daddy kink mafia bodyguard romance is going to hit the spot. I always say I love a bodyguard romance because it's the one job that, you know, an employee is able to boss their boss around, and I love that. And everything is rooted in care and protection. So I cannot wait to get to that. I think I'm at like 8 books now. We do have 4 days, and you know, I may swap some in or out. I will let you know how I fit these into the prompts in my recommendations video. I will try to make that short and sweet. I know I have a tendency to like go in. This one is safe because all I had was a chapter to go on, but I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you can I'm over here stuttering. I'm not editing it out. I'm not. I hope you can consider subscribing and sticking around, and I also hope to see you in the next one. Bye.